I want to welcome you to another episode of the Warzone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in because without you guys, I would not have a show. So I'm very appreciative of you taking the time out to tune in to my show. I'm really appreciative of that. But I want to give fair warning. I am in a very, very bad mood. So anybody that's crossed me starting tomorrow, you're going to lose your job. Anybody that won't smoke with me, come see me. I'm in a very, very bad mood. So what you might need to do is hug your loved one tonight and try Jesus, but don't try me. Ever since Millard House got to HISD, it's been a complete disaster. Ever since he got here. He's disrespected schools. He's disrespected principals. He's disrespected alumni. Even the other night when he accepted an award from, who was that? The Urban League. He seemed very uncomfortable on stage. Didn't have a smile on his face like the other recipients. Seems like he has a problem being in a room with a room full of black people. Don't. It's like he doesn't want to be around them. Well, it's certain things that you can do that really I could let you make it on, but then there's certain things that you can't do that I'll never let you make it on. We have a special school for special education children. It's T.H. Rogers. Some are highly functioning children with autism goes to this school. Good kids. Some can't walk, some can't talk. But this is a school that specializes in taking care of those particular kids. And for some strange reason, the superintendent of the Houston Independent School District and his quote unquote administrative dummies decided that they would move those children off that campus. Along the way, he decided to put special ed kids on an alternative school campus at DAEP Harper, and some of those children over there in alternative school, they're children with felonies, violent felonies, different things like that. And that's not a safe environment for special ed children. But when you mess up, sometimes you need to own it. And when you don't own it, shit comes back to you. Well, Millard knew he had screwed up with that, and he got a lot of backlash at a meeting, and they kind of walked it back. And let's go in here. Let's look at something. Right here, HISD hits pause on plan to move out special education kids from T.H. Rogers. This article was written by Margaret Downing on December 8th. As you can see, that's the superintendent of the Houston Independent School District. Millard, half full house. That's what I'll call him. And according to the article, following a private meeting earlier this week with some of the parents of special ed kids at T.H. Rogers who oppose the Houston Independent School District plans to remove those children from the award-winning school, HISD has followed through on a commitment by Millard House II about taking a pause. In a letter sent out December 8, HISD Academic Chief Officer Dr. Sean Bird notified the special ed PSI staff at the school that the transition plans have been put on hold. This is what Bird sent out. The transition of the Preparing Students for Independence program, students from the T.H. Rogers School for the 23-24 school year have temporarily been paused. Parent feedback is critical to this process, and the district will continue to explore all possible options in collaboration with the Texas Education Agency. Additional communication will be forthcoming by the end of January 23. Thank you for your voice, involvement, and advocacy, Dr. Sean Bird. In the meeting on Tuesday, House explained to a select group of parents that they had planned to release the news about moving the special ed children to other schools in January, but he said the news of the change leaked out. His administration moved the timetable up to November 5th, to the November 15th letter that went home in kids' backpacks to their parents. House told the parents, he said he talked with the Texas Commissioner of Education on Monday about different options that might even allow the district to keep both special ed and GT students on the Rogers campus, but in separate schools. There is no mention of the deaf kids moved away at the end of the spring in 21-22. So as you can see, that's the letter where they put they put it on pause. He had a change of heart, and he put it on pause. And he said he wasn't gonna do it. Man, let me say this here, man. Let me say this here. What did I do with it? Okay, hold on a second, you guys. I closed the wrong screen. He had a change of heart, and that's why he did what he did. Supposedly that's what it is. But I tell you what, when you're demonic, you don't necessarily have a change of heart. It's some things that can make you change the flow of what you're doing. Now, whether you know it or not, hold on a second. Whether you know it or not, you just don't have a change of heart like that. When you came out the gate, basically trying to screw these kids, you tried to screw these babies, and that's what you did. And now you don't want to answer the necessary questions that it takes to find out exactly what really went on. Was it a change of heart, or did something make him change his mind? Well, I tell you what, you know me. I come with the receipts. Hold on a second. Let me load up a screen for you, and then we're going to go here. That was an article written by, let me make sure I get this right, Houston Public Media reporter Dominic Anthony. He released some audio. See, the T.H. Rogers parents, they're a special breed of parent. They're very, very protected. They have to be because of the situation with their babies. What House did is try to placate the affluent community. See, because I always tell y'all, these wannabe elected officials and people that are in power, they normally have a black conversation and then they have a white conversation. They'll go to the affluent community, they'll speak one way with a forked tongue. And then they'll come to the poor black community and they'll speak another way with a forked tongue. It wasn't because the information leaked out per se to say that this is the reason we're putting a pause on it. See, he didn't say take it off the tape. And he's constantly in communication with TEA, who's telling him what he should do. But when it's exposed, TEA acts like they don't even have a clue what he's talking about. They leave him in that water by himself. So I think that I should play this audio for you. Now, I'm going to be honest, you're going to get snippets of it, of this audio, that will prove that Millard House is in bed with the Texas Education Agency. And I got the whole tape. 67 minutes, 38 seconds, Millard, Sean Bird, and Max Mall. Spin that one, Max. I got the whole meeting. I got the whole meeting on tape. So was Millard House in bed with the Texas Education Agency? Why were you moving those children from that school and then throwing them in their regular home schools, I don't have to say anything. Let's let him tell you. So let's stop this. Let me make sure I got it set up right. Let's share the screen. See, because sometimes you ain't got to open your mouth with certain people. You let them cross themselves. So I think I got my volumes up. Okay. Let's see if Gary Monroe is a liar. Listen closely. You don't want to miss it. It's a short 10-second clip.
It was just executing orders that we were being told. And I hate to throw anybody under the bus. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me.
Do you need to hear it again? Let's play this one more time.
It was just executing orders that we were being told. And I hate to throw anybody under the bus. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me.
So my question now becomes, who does he work for? Does he work for Mike Morath and TEA? Or does he work for the Houston Independent School District? Because according to him, he was following a directive to move these kids off of these campuses, and one baby would have had to go to Wisdom. And if you're not familiar with Wisdom High School, it's like the United Nations. So anybody a lot of kids that come here, you know, they from other countries, they kind of end up at Wisdom. That's just what it is. But I'm going to do this again because I didn't say this. Millard House said this. Millard House said this.
It was just executing orders that we were being told. And I hate to throw anybody under the bus. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me.
So if you work for the Houston Independent School District, then why you worried about TEA being pissed at you? Why you worried about it? Because you know what? The conservatives are running around HISD telling the superintendent exactly what he needs to do. He's following their orders. They have our school district looking like garbage right now. These kids are not where they need to be. They're worse off than when he got here. And you're doing what TEA told you. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I didn't want TEA pissed at me. You know why he does not want TEA pissed at him? Because TEA Commissioner Mike Morath, you're in bed with the superintendent. You got him believing that he's going to get the job. If TEA wins the lawsuit, he won't be removed. But Mr. Morath, haven't you spoken to state representatives and have already agreed that the board will have to be removed according to state law, and that your failed superintendent will be removed also? So you're selling us out, but at the same time, you're selling yourself out. And because you have evidence that's this damaging to you, I don't know why there's another school district in the country that would even want to partake in dealing with you. So you are being paid $400,000 a year to sell out our special ed kids to the Texas Education Agency. Well, let me show you how TEA operates. When you get in bed with the devil, this is what the devil does to you. And once again, thanks to Dominic Anthony from the Houston Public Media for putting this out there. And a student, let me make sure I get this right because I don't want to say this wrong. Let me make sure I get this right. It was recorded by T.H. Rogers' parent, and Dominic put it out. According to the Texas Education Agency statement, any decisions concerning which students are served on the T.H. Rogers campus rest with the individual student or committees and HISD and is not driven by the agency. Special education conservators appointed by TEA have issued no directives to the district. The conservators serve as thought partners to help the district identify potential paths forward that will best support students. TEA conservators will continue in this capacity and aid the district in its development of a comprehensive plan that ensures the needs of the students, ensure the needs of students are being met, and that all relevant components of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act are being followed. I call bullshit. Millard, so you just gonna lie on TEA, right? Y'all really think this man would just lie on TEA? I don't think so. I don't think that's what it would be. I think they're in bed together and they were ready to serve our special ed kids back to these regular schools that are not equipped to handle them, not give a damn about them, put them in harm's way, and now everybody wants to pass the buck. So let's see what the actual superintendent.
You told parents that
what the superintendent of HISD had to say. Let's see. Hold on a second, you guys. You guys hold on a second. I'm having technical difficulties. So I'm going to call BS on this. Why would this man say that he was following orders? That he was told to put these kids back on these campuses? Now, I want you to understand something. Some of the campuses that these kids call home schools are very, very violent campuses. They're violent because there's no discipline on these campuses. None. And I don't know how the Board of Trustees can sit knowing that this had went on, knowing that 90% of them, 90 to 95% of the trustees do not want a school takeover. But you're sitting amongst the enemy, who's the superintendent, who's in bed with TEA. Let's see how he responded when questioned.
You told parents that y'all were just executing orders. TEA says conservators issued no directives. Obviously, both can't be true. So I'm curious, what is it? What happened?
You know, it's interesting, and I'm not looking to get in a back and forth in reference to who said what. I think what's important is that we have parents and students in front of us that have a need, and it's one of the reasons why we took a pause in the manner that we took. I communicate on a consistent basis with both our conservators as well as Commissioner Morath. I've spoken to Morath as early as this week as well. So again, I'm really not interested in terms of the idea of who said what. We know we have an issue that we need to right for these parents, and that's what the focus will be moving forward to ensure that we do what's in the best interest of our students and our families.
I hear you not wanting to point fingers, but TEA has said something that is in opposition diametrically to what you said. So I'm trying to figure out, did conservators issue something that was interpreted as an order, or did this decision come from the district?
The district is going to own it at this point. I'll just say that. We'll own it. We'll address the issue. We have a good working relationship with our conservators that are here. They make and provide and assess and give the kind of advice to us as an organization that they should. And we listen, we learn, and we grow.
You told parents.
Did you hear what he just said? He has a good working relationship with TEA conservators. He said he had spoken to Morath that week. He had spoken to the conservators that week. But do you have that same relationship with the parents? You didn't want to answer the questions because you got caught with your pants down. You got caught. You didn't lie. You told the truth in the first audio that you were told to do this and you didn't want to piss TEA off. Why would you piss TEA off? Because TEA doesn't want to service special ed children. You already done got caught up. So having a TEA conservator down here is like having a fox in the hen house. It's like having a fox in the hen house. The conservators own HISD. They own it. TEA owns HISD. Yet we got this man acting like he's working in the best interest of kids. So if you are working in the best interest of children, what serves them better? Throwing them on their home campus where they're not even equipped to handle these babies? Or leaving them where they're at, where they're getting top-notch care on a daily basis and they're getting a quality education? You don't care about their well-being. You don't care about their safety. Do the trustees at this point care about the safety of these children? You know what? Time will tell. Because if Gary Monroe, who's just a private citizen taxpayer, goes out and says the wrong thing, everybody will crucify me. But the superintendent then served up our children to TEA and ain't nobody saying nothing. Tap dance to the beat is not working, Fallon. Listen to what I'm telling you. The man is an agent for TEA. Santos does not want a takeover. I don't know about Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez, or I can tell you the ones that I feel would not be in favor of folks coming in here just taking over and just throwing our children away. I know that Santos will fight tooth and nail with the union who backs her, and she backs the union. I mean, that's her thing. I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. The issue is, how can you continue to allow a person like this, who should be working in the best interest of children, administrators, the people that work for him, the best interest of the board, public education, and yet you're in bed with the people that want to privatize education? So this is the deal. They don't want to educate special ed children. They've never wanted to educate them. This is why they had problems identifying them. They didn't want a high population of special ed kids. Well, let's put it a different way, because I gotta call a spade a spade. They didn't want a high population of special ed kids at their white schools. You didn't have a problem when all these special ed kids were at these black schools. Schools with 800 kid populations and 400 of them are labeled special ed. You didn't have a problem with that. You already don't service them the way that you should. We just happen to have some good people that work with our kids on a daily basis that care about them. And I applaud the staff at T.H. Rogers, who for many, many years have taken care of our children, but you were ready to throw them out and send them back to their home schools. You were ready to throw them out and send them to schools that are not equipped to handle them. And then you want to blame it on somebody else. Let's go back in. Let's listen to some more audio. Let's listen to some more audio.
If you like the program the way it is, if the parents like the program the way it is, and if TEA and HISD agree that HISD owns the decision, is there any outcome other than the program staying at T.H. Rogers that you could foresee?
I don't want to overspeak. I think we have to legally make sure that everything is being done accordance to law, and so we'll let those legal representatives, as well as those special education representatives, in accordance with our teammates at TEA, to ensure that everything is being done within the parameters of the way it's supposed to be done. But my goal is to take the pause and have as least amount of change for these students moving forward.
If you like the program the way it is, if the parents like the program the way it is, and if TEA and H
take a pause. He said, take a pause. So what that means, they're going to circle back to it once they can figure out how to get around the law. HISD trustees, let's have a conversation right now. You took an oath. You took an oath to be a trustee in the state of Texas, to be a trustee in the Houston Independent School District. And anyone that's trying to hurt our children should go. I'm exposing everything. You don't have no excuses at this point. But you know what's so disrespectful? And I don't want to make this a black and a white conversation, but I got to speak on it or put a week on it. When the white folk had a problem, you went down there to talk to them in a private meeting. But the black folk got a problem and request your presence. You never show up. It is obvious whether it's a regular ed student or a special ed student. The Houston Independent School District has never given a damn about Black and Latino children. They've never given a damn about them. And you know what? Everybody wants to be mad at these parents. This district made a decision not to give a damn about our children. So I don't want to hear, everybody saying, well, you got to have numbers. You got to have this. No, that ain't how that work. That ain't how that work, man. You have a man in here that one does not know what the hell he's doing. And every trustee sitting on the horseshoe, they know it. But your pride is eating you up right now. You don't want to come back and say you hired the wrong person. And I get it. I truly understand that. But I've never been built that way, because owning my own business, there were plenty of times that I hired the wrong person. And when I figured it out, I got rid of him. This man has been caught on tape saying, I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me. He's an op for TEA. He was sent here to destroy our children. He has no power. I agree with Fallon. Fallon, my good friend, says he is powerless. He has no power. But the one thing I learned a long time ago, you fight until the final whistle blows. You didn't bring a fighter in here. Y'all brought somebody in here. Y'all brought somebody in here because somebody sitting on that board had an agenda. See, because if the superintendent goes into a back room and he says, I want to screw all the kids in HISD, he does not have the power to do it unless at least 5 of those 9 people on that board give him the power. Where did y'all find this man, and who really had the agenda to destroy our special ed kids and to mess over our Black and brown children? Now, I know some of y'all like to talk that talk, and you want to go back and you want to talk history and you want to do all that. How can a Latino board member sit on the board knowing that this man is trying to destroy Latino school board members and not go into closed session and say we need to find a way to get him out? How can the black trustees that sit on the board not go into closed session and say, well, he's trying to hurt our black children too, we need to get him out? All the trustees should go into closed session and say, this man is trying to hurt special ed kids, we need to get him out. See, your reputation will be judged but one day, but your character shall be judged for a lifetime. God is waiting on you 9 people. When your day comes, you too will be judged. You can go to church every Sunday and beg for forgiveness, but God is going to deal with you when you know what this guy and his team is in there doing. Who came up with this fabulous idea to mess over those kids? He didn't show up. He didn't just mysteriously apply for this job. Hollyville Second and Sung found him. They brought him to the search committee. They brought him to the search committee. However, the search committee got him in there. They got him in there. See, we got to get out the symbolism phase of trying to pick a superintendent. Oh, he needs to be black or he needs to be Latino. No, he needs to be qualified. You decided to get rid of somebody who was doing a decent job. And I understand people had issues with Dr. Grenita Lathan. But do you regret it now? Do you have a problem sleeping at night? Because you should, knowing what's happening with our children under the guise of a man who has no soul. He has no soul. So if you're just tuning in, we're going to back up a little bit.
That
Hold on. We're going to back up a little bit.
It was just executing the orders that we were being told.
We're going to back up a little bit. And if you're just tuning in, the question is did the superintendent sell the special ed kids out? You get to hear from me every night. Let's hear what he said.
It was just executing the orders that we were being told. And I hate to throw anybody under the bus. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me. It was just executing the orders that we were being told. And I hate to throw anybody under the bus. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me.
So you have a public conversation and you have a private conversation. When you were in that room with those parents, you were comfortable. And remember this: criminals never get caught. They never get caught. They get comfortable. And how comfortable was he to say this?
It was just executing the orders that we were being told. And I hate to throw anybody under the bus. I couldn't say that publicly on the news because I don't want TEA pissed at me.
He doesn't want TEA pissed at him. You know, as I'm sitting here listening to this audio, and I got the whole tape, he never once mentioned talking to the parents. The way that these parents were notified, they stuck a note in the backpacks of the special ed babies for the parents to read once they got home. You're disrespectful. You're disrespectful, not just to black people, but to white people. You thought you could sit in that room and feed them a bunch of BS, and they were smart enough to tape you. They were smart enough to tape you. So my question now is, what are the trustees going to do about it? Because this embarrassment will only get worse. It will only get worse. It will only get worse. Our children deserve better. Dwight Jones, let's read his comment. Ashamed they want to move them. They have been there for years. Wish there was something done 3 to 4 years ago when they moved the deaf ed program for elementary and middle school kids from there. Kids with disabilities, whether they're deaf, whether they have autism, it is what it is. HISD just doesn't want to educate them. See, because the special ed kids numbers count towards the start too. And that's where a lot of the cheating comes in on some of these campuses. Because if you go do the research, you got nonverbal kids scoring higher than regular ed kids. I remember at a school, it was a kid that was dumb as a bag of rocks. He was a senior and he was special ed. He didn't go to class, none of that. He scored the highest score on the STAR test over the valedictorian. What you guys are doing is a violation of human rights. What you guys are doing is, like Nicole Foster said, a detriment to children. And I agree with Fallon, the SPED kids yield the most funding. They don't want to educate them, but they want the money. And all these people are making tons of money while our children get nothing out the deal. HISD trustees, I'm not gonna beg you for nothing. Me, I'm sending people up in there. I ain't finna play your game. But HISD trustees, when you are campaigning, every last one of y'all, you promise these kids, these voters, these parents, these stakeholders, these alumni, that you were going to work in the best interest of those kids. And if you plan on working in the best interest of those kids, if he does not want to resign, the superintendent of HISD Millard House, it's time for you to buy him out. This is more than enough. This is more than enough. But remember, I got the whole tape. All 67 minutes and 38 seconds of it. I got the whole tape. And it's sad that we even having this conversation. Because if I was on the board and I said the wrong thing, you would vote to censor me. You would try everything in your everything in your fiber to get me off that board. But see, the thing is I understand in this world that we live in, when you're running these companies and corporations, that you have so many employees that you can't keep your eyes on everybody. But the board of trustees only has one. Their only employee is the superintendent of the Houston Independent School District. This is why they can't get into the day-to-day operations of how he runs the school district. Which, I know for a fact that he's been backdooring y'all, lying to TEA, saying y'all won't let him do his job, throwing y'all under the bus, along with them dirty ass conservators you got up in there. So if they're telling him what to do, and we look this bad academically, they're doing it for a reason. This Saturday, I put the flyer on my page. We're having a citywide community meeting. You got a special ed kid, regular ed kid, GT kid. If you want to come to the meeting, come. If you don't want to come and you think you can send emails to solve this, that ain't going to happen. Because what affects the Black community with this dude selling out to TEA is going to affect the affluent community. We shall all incur the wrath of Mike Morath if he gets the opportunity. And you know what I'm going to tell you? Even when they come in, if they are able to take over, they're going to screw it up because HISD is too big. They don't have the manpower to be able to run the school district. They don't know how to deal with the issues that we deal with on. See, this ain't Austin ISD. This ain't Beaumont ISD. He cut the deal, like Fallon say, and I'm going to say it different, Fallon. House cut the deal before he came here. He knew what his assignment was. And it was to decimate education in HISD. It was to decimate education and make us look bad enough that if they win this lawsuit, they get to come in here and take over this school district, which all they're going to do is siphon money out of. They don't know how to run. Our dropout rate is going to go through the roof. Our crime rate is going to get worse, while they're going to be acting like they're doing everything in the world to help these children. They're not doing anything to help these kids, man. These kids can't read. These kids can't do basic mathematics. You got IB programs that don't have IB teachers. You can't expect a kid to get a associate's degree in an IB program when they don't have the people that they need to teach the courses. Our special ed kids deserve better. His days are numbered. Millard, I think you should be packing up. But I can promise you, brother, you're not going to get another job, not at this level. See, because you could have came here and did something special. You could have come here and blew this out the water. But you came here like a coward. You came here from day one, knowing in your heart you just going to get your money because TEA pulling from one side and the trustees pulling from the other side. But you don't listen to the trustees. Your head is hard. But you're selling them out behind their backs. Yeah, I'm connected too, Millard. You're selling them out behind their backs. And the sad part is some of them know it. So what y'all waiting on? What are y'all waiting on? When are you going to call him out? People talk that shit about Yolanda Jones, but Yolanda would have been called him out. She'd have called him out a long time ago. See, some of y'all are just too worried about your next step. See, because HISD is just a stepping stone for you politically. You don't want to blow your chances at running for state rep. You don't want to blow your chances at running for city council or running for mayor, whatever y'all trying to get to. You just needed that HISD trustee thing up under your belt. So you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to rock the boat. And I get it. When it's all said and done, you too will be judged. But I know that there's a special place in hell for anybody that sits quiet right now. I want to talk about this because I got to touch on it. We got issues over at Yates High School as well as the other black high schools, but I'm going to speak on Yates, and this is how a bunch of us feel. Garnett Coleman, you're quiet right now. You're a Yates alumni. Boris Miles, you're quiet right now. You're a Yates alumni. Sheila Jackson Lee's husband, you're a Yates alumni. You're quiet right now. I wonder why. Do you really think you're going to get a $5 billion bond for y'all to get y'all hands on some of that money? I'm going to mess all that up, dude. So if you're in a position of power, especially you black politicians that like to run and take your pictures and do all you do. I don't see none of y'all saying nothing right now about this black man that's Uncle Tom in our black schools. I don't see you saying nothing right now. And you don't like when I call you out, but I have to do that. I have to do that. Yeah, it's roll call time, not Deborah Hobbs. I don't hear none of y'all saying nothing. I got a meeting tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can make some of you bastards talk. I'm going to see if I can make you get in front of a camera and say we're not going to close any of these black schools. Or are you going to try to do what you normally do? Ride the wave. Wait till the last minute to show up and act like you fighting with everything in your power. If you Negroes can't show up now, we will embarrass you when you do. I said what I said. Garnett Coleman, you're too quiet right now, brother. Boris Miles, you're too quiet right now, brother. Sheila Jackson Lee's husband, you're too quiet right now, brother. Don't be surprised if we end up in front of your goddamn house, because you ain't finna be quiet. You finna get off your fucking hands and do what the people elected you to do. And if you don't, we will make your life uncomfortable too. Say, man, I want to thank y'all for all of last year. I really do. But right now I'm on this rant. And I'm going to stay on this rant. But anybody that sits quiet while this man is trying to serve our special ed kids up, then it is what it is. January 12th, 4:30 p.m., 4400 West 18th Street, the district office. There will be a board meeting, and Janelle Don said, is Roland Martin still coming? Roland will be here. He will do his show from Houston, and he will speak at the board meeting. So any of you that have lost schools or in jeopardy of losing your schools, this is the meeting to show up to. We're not waiting till the last minute. No more games. Trustees, you have a job to do. Get it done. It's the Warzone, and I'm the 5-star general.